Hello, brothers, and welcome to Sigma Old Man Channel. Sometimes silence isn't peace, it's preparation. You didn't notice when he left. You just realized the room feels colder. No goodbye, no explanation, no fireworks. He was just gone. And now, you're questioning everything. Was he ever even here? Here's a chilling fact. Studies in behavioral psychology show that sudden withdrawal from high-functioning individuals often signals emotional overexposure, not weakness. Translation? When the Sigma male disappears, he's not collapsing, he's reloading. See, he doesn't ghost to get attention. He ghosts because your world became too loud, too fake, or too stupid, and pretending not to notice was slowly suffocating his genius. And while most people treat silence like an awkward pause, he treats it like a tactical weapon. Ghost mode isn't his retreat, it's his rebirth. And depending on which side you stand, it's either the beginning of your lesson or the end of your access. And hey, don't take it personally. He ghosts toxic people, fake friends, annoying co-workers, and sometimes his phone bill. Let's dive into the 12 mind-warping, brutally honest reasons Sigma males go ghost and why his silence is more terrifying than 1,000 loud men screaming for attention. Grab a seat or don't, he already left the room. Number one, he's not escaping you. He's returning to himself. Sometimes when a Sigma male goes ghost, it has absolutely nothing to do with you. He's not angry, hurt, or seeking revenge. He just needs to return to something most people forget exists: himself. The world is noisy, fast, and constantly demanding. It pulls at your attention like it owns it. For the Sigma, that constant exposure becomes a silent virus. It chips away at his sense of clarity, purpose, and internal alignment. And unlike most people, he doesn't wait until burnout drags him into a breakdown. He leaves before the damage sets in. The Sigma male doesn't ghost to punish people. He ghosts because the signal in his mind is getting distorted. And when the signal gets distorted, his instincts go dark. That's when he knows it's time to vanish. Not for drama, not for attention, but because his sanity is sacred. Being around too many people too often, even the ones he likes, creates a kind of static in his mind. It's not about introversion or being antisocial. It's about overload. Everyone wants a piece of him, his thoughts, his time, his calm, his wisdom. But every yes to the world can be a silent no to himself. So he stops talking, stops texting, stops explaining, and just exits. This is the part people don't understand. They think he's cold, detached, unbothered. But the truth is, he cares so much about staying aligned with who he really is, he'll risk being misunderstood for it. He knows that if he stays too long in environments that pull him away from himself, he'll start making decisions based on noise, not clarity. And that's dangerous for someone like him. Going ghost is his way of pressing reset. He needs solitude not just to breathe, but to reconfigure. He sorts through his thoughts, he reorders his priorities. He silences the opinions that aren't his. And when he returns, if he returns, he's sharper, quieter, more intentional. Some people think he disappears without reason, but the truth is, the reason is more sacred than they'll ever understand. He's not escaping life. He's preserving his alignment. And the few who truly get that never try to chase him when he vanishes. They just wait because they know he only comes back better. And number two, because performing sanity for the insane is exhausting. There comes a point where the Sigma male just gets tired, not physically, but mentally and spiritually. He's surrounded by people who celebrate fake confidence, hollow positivity, and surface-level vibes. Everywhere he turns, it's people pretending to have it all together while falling apart behind their filters. They lie to themselves, lie to others, and call it growth. And worst of all, they expect him to join the circus. But the Sigma male wasn't built for performance. He's not here to play roles, stroke egos, or dance around fragile feelings. So when the world starts demanding that he fake emotions, agree with nonsense, and smile through stupidity, he doesn't argue, he just vanishes. Because for him, performing sanity in an insane world is the fastest way to lose your own mind. He watches people chase status like it's salvation. He sees influencers selling delusion as advice. He watches fake friends talk about energy and vibes while betraying each other every chance they get. He sees people worship social approval while starving for real meaning, and at some point it becomes too heavy, too loud, too fake. That's when he goes ghost. Not because he's weak, but because he refuses to keep pretending. The truth is, the Sigma male doesn't hate people. He just hates the masks they refuse to take off. He doesn't ghost because he's antisocial. He ghosts because society has turned into a performance where the loudest, fakest actors get rewarded, and he'd rather walk off stage than join the cast. Going ghost isn't running away, it's a rebellion against the fake. It's his way of saying, if sanity means playing along with madness, count me out. And so he disappears, not to hide, but to protect the last honest part of himself in a world that punishes realness. In his silence, he finds peace. In his absence, he regains clarity. And when he returns, if he returns, it won't be as a performer in someone else's play. It'll be as the director of his own. Number 3, he saw the conversation ending before you spoke. The Sigma male has a radar most people don't understand. While others are still trying to figure out the surface, he's already 10 steps ahead, mentally, emotionally, and energetically. He doesn't need an argument to know where a conversation is headed. He doesn't need closure to exit, and he definitely doesn't need to wait for the right time to disappear. Because by the time you're getting to your point, he's already arrived at your conclusion and silently left. It's not arrogance, it's pattern recognition. He sees through the fluff, the small talk, the emotional bait, the empty compliments. He knows when someone's pretending to care. He knows when the conversation is going in circles, and he knows when people are talking to be heard, not to connect. So rather than waste his time explaining what he already sees, he ghosts. Mid-text, mid-call, mid-connection. And while most people find that rude, to him it's simply efficient. He's not built for dead-end dialogues. He doesn't enjoy fake depth or recycled drama. So once he senses the energy shifting toward nonsense, he disengages. No warning, no paragraph, just silence. He's not trying to make a statement. He just refuses to waste his mental bandwidth on noise. People who don't know him well will think he's cold or insensitive. But in reality, the Sigma male has mastered the art of energetic conservation. He knows that every second spent in the wrong conversation is a second stolen from something better. His thoughts, his peace, his next move. He doesn't argue, he doesn't over-explain, he just exits before things go numb. You might think he disappeared out of nowhere, but in his mind it wasn't sudden at all. He was just done before you realized the connection was already dying. He saw the outcome coming long before it showed up, and once he mapped the road to nowhere, he didn't need directions. He simply left, quietly, fully, and for good. Number 4, he saw the conversation ending before you spoke. The Sigma male does not need a long speech or a dramatic moment to leave. He can hear one sentence and already know where the rest of the conversation is going. He listens between the words. He picks up on tone, timing, intention, and energy. Before you even finish your thought, he has already seen the pattern, read the ending, and made his decision. And if what he sees leads nowhere meaningful, he exits, mid-text, mid-call, mid-connection. It is not about being rude. It is about protecting his peace. He does not believe in dragging things out when the outcome is already clear. If the conversation is heading toward manipulation, pointless debate, shallow validation, or emotional drama, he checks out quietly, immediately, and completely. Some people will call it ghosting. Some will say he vanished out of nowhere, but in his mind he gave it more time than it deserved. He stayed long enough to see the truth. Once he sees that truth, he does not wait around hoping it changes. He does not pretend he is still interested. He does not fake politeness. He moves on. This ability to exit early is not just about conversations. It is about relationships, friendships, deals, group dynamics, and even environments. He knows when something is already dead before anyone says it out loud. And he refuses to keep giving life to what no longer feeds his purpose or peace. To the average person, it feels sudden, but to the Sigma, it was already over long before the silence began. He saw the signals, he felt the shift. He watched the energy fade, and when there was nothing left to gain or give, he left. No drama, no goodbye, no guilt, just quiet, final clarity. Number 5, he's not punishing you, he's protecting what's sacred. When a Sigma male goes silent, most people take it personally. They assume he's punishing them, sending a message, or playing games. But that's not his style. He's not trying to teach anyone a lesson. He's not trying to hurt you. The truth is far more personal and far more sacred. His disappearance is not rejection, it's protection, not of you, but of himself. His energy is not cheap, his silence is not empty, his mind is not public property. These are sacred things, things he has built through solitude, through pain, through deep self-reflection. And when he senses they're being drained, disrespected, or misunderstood, he doesn't yell, he doesn't fight, he simply leaves. It could be a friend who keeps dumping problems on him but never grows. It could be a partner who drains him emotionally but calls it love. It could be a job, a group chat, a social setting where his presence is taken for granted. When that sacred space within him is under pressure, he doesn't ask for space. He takes it without noise, without permission, without apology. To most people, silence feels like abandonment, but to the Sigma, silence is where truth lives. It's where he regains strength, reclaims focus, and realigns with what actually matters. Every second he stays in the wrong energy is a second stolen from his purpose, and he doesn't let that theft go on for long. He won't explain himself because he doesn't need approval to protect what he values. He won't justify his boundaries because they were built from experience, not ego. And if you think his absence is a cold shoulder, you've misunderstood everything. It's not ice, it's fire, controlled, focused, sacred. You don't get access to his silence unless you know how to handle it. You don't get his energy unless you've earned it. And you don't get his presence just because you demand it. So when he goes ghost, don't ask what you did wrong. Ask what he needed to protect, because what he guards isn't just peace. It's the source of his power, and not everyone is meant to sit at that altar. Number 6, he leaves to watch the fallout he predicted. The Sigma male doesn't argue with chaos. He doesn't waste his breath trying to convince people the storm is coming. When he sees the cracks forming, whether in a relationship, a group, a plan, or an entire system, he does something most people don't have the discipline to do. He quietly steps back, he detaches, he exits before the collapse. It's not because he's heartless. It's because he saw it all coming long before anyone else noticed. He noticed the red flags being ignored. He felt the shift in energy. He watched people deny truth, avoid responsibility, and inflate their own illusions. He knew it was going to break. He just chose not to get crushed when it did. Most people stick around trying to fix what's already failing. They stay loyal to dysfunction, addicted to potential, or trapped by obligation. Not the Sigma. His loyalty is not to comfort, it's to truth. And when the truth says this is going down, he listens. He doesn't try to change the trajectory. He doesn't try to save people who are committed to sinking. He withdraws early, silently, and completely. And then he watches. He watches people scramble to control what they refuse to take responsibility for. He watches false leaders collapse under the weight of their own egos. He watches people blame each other, betray each other, and pretend they didn't see it coming. But he did. He saw it all. That's why he left. His withdrawal is not cowardice, it's wisdom. It's emotional detachment with surgical precision. It's his way of preserving his energy while the fallout unfolds exactly how he predicted. He never gloats. He never says, "I told you so." He doesn't need to. The silence says everything. And by the time the dust settles, he's already built something new, somewhere else, stronger, smarter, cleaner. While others are still standing in the ruins, wondering what went wrong, he's already 3 moves ahead, because that's what makes him different. He doesn't wait for disaster to hit. He sees it early, exits early, and watches it burn from a safe, silent distance. Number 7. His intelligence doesn't need to announce itself. The Sigma male doesn't walk into a room trying to prove he's the smartest. He doesn't need to flex credentials, quote philosophers, or drop buzzwords to sound intelligent. His mind speaks for itself, and if people can't hear it, he won't shout. That's why he ghosts, not because he's insecure or fragile, but because he refuses to water himself down just to be understood by shallow thinkers. He's the type who connects dots most people don't even see. He processes fast, thinks deeply, and questions everything. But when he shares those thoughts, he's often met with blank stares, surface-level replies, or worse, defensiveness. People take his clarity as arrogance. They take his precision as judgment. And instead of trying to meet him at his level, they try to drag him down to theirs. That's where most people would argue, try harder, explain themselves. Not the Sigma, he just exits, silently, casually, permanently. Because for him, intelligence is not something you perform, it's something you live. And if people need a show to believe it, he's not interested. He's not going to pretend to be confused just to make others comfortable. He's not going to shrink his ideas so someone with fragile ego feels smarter. He would rather disappear than participate in a room where truth has to be diluted to be accepted. This isn't pride, it's protection. A mind like his doesn't thrive in noise, it thrives in clarity, challenge, and substance. So when he senses that the environment only rewards shallow talk and groupthink, he doesn't waste time. He ghosts, not to isolate himself, but to preserve the part of him that actually makes him dangerous, his undeniable mental clarity. He doesn't beg to be heard. He doesn't chase understanding. He knows that real intelligence doesn't require applause, it requires space. And if the space doesn't exist, he makes his own through silence, through distance, through complete detachment. He doesn't disappear because people don't get him. He disappears because he refuses to explain brilliance to minds that are closed before he even speaks. Number 8, he's not depressed, he's detoxing from stupidity. The Sigma male isn't sad, broken, or emotionally drowning when he disappears. He's not curled up in a corner craving pity. He's not ghosting because life became too hard. What he's actually doing is detoxing, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, from a world that feels like it's been hijacked by stupidity. He looks around and sees it everywhere. Fake outrage over things that don't matter. Viral trends that insult intelligence. Shallow conversations that circle the drain with no depth or direction. People addicted to being loud instead of being right. And somehow society rewards it. The more brainless the content, the more attention it gets. The more emotionally reactive you are, the more real you seem. It's insanity disguised as culture. And the Sigma male feels every bit of it like static in his brain. That's why he ghosts. Not because he's weak, but because stupidity is loud and intelligence needs silence to breathe. Being around people who don't think, who regurgitate opinions, who chase trends like puppies chasing lasers, it drains him. He's not better than them, but he refuses to become one of them, so he checks out completely. His disappearance isn't a meltdown, it's a cleanse. It's him scrubbing his mental space of noise that doesn't belong. It's him choosing inner clarity over outer validation. And yeah, from the outside it might look like depression. He's quiet, he's distant, he's not himself. But the truth is, that's exactly when he is himself, the most. In silence, he reconnects with depth. In distance, he returns to his core. And when he finally reappears, he's not tired. He's recharged, sharper, quieter, less tolerant of the pointless. His ghost mode wasn't an escape from life. It was a rejection of a version of life that has become allergic to depth. So no, he's not sulking, he's not broken. He's just refusing to breathe in the smog of stupidity everyone else seems to enjoy. And when he comes back, he won't be looking for conversation. He'll be looking for substance. If it's not there, he's gone again, without a word, without a trace. Number 9, he realizes the strongest moves are made off the grid. The Sigma male knows something most people never figure out. Real power doesn't need to be seen to be real. In a world obsessed with visibility, where people post every move, document every step, and seek applause for even the smallest progress, he takes a different route. He moves off the grid in silence, without the need for attention or approval. That's where he becomes dangerous. When he goes ghost, it's not because he's lost or confused, it's because he's building, plotting, creating, sharpening. He's not retreating, he's incubating. While others are out there performing success for likes and validation, he's doing the real work no one sees. And that's exactly how he likes it, because the strongest moves, they're made in the dark, with no eyes watching, no noise, no distractions. He doesn't post the process. He doesn't need you to know what he's working on. He's not trying to prove anything. He's studying, strategizing, and silently crafting things that will one day speak so loudly they won't need an introduction. By the time anyone notices what he's been up to, it's already too late. The move has been made. The impact has landed. The room shifts and nobody saw it coming. This is why his silence is misunderstood. People assume he's doing nothing, but that's the trap. The Sigma male doesn't waste energy explaining himself. He doesn't leak progress. He doesn't share plans with people who wouldn't understand the vision anyway. He operates with precision, not noise, discipline, not ego. And the best part, he doesn't need the spotlight to win. The more invisible he becomes, the more powerful he gets. That silence people think is weakness. It's where he's building the weapons they won't even recognize until they're already hit. Ghost mode isn't him hiding, it's him becoming undeniable. So when he disappears, don't assume he's paused. Assume he's preparing, because when he reappears, he won't be asking for space. He'll be owning it, quietly, completely, and without mercy. Number 10, he doesn't need to be seen to have power. The Sigma male understands something most people are too addicted to attention to grasp. Visibility is not the same as power. In fact, the more people see you, expect from you, and access you, the more control they feel entitled to have over you. That's why he pulls away. That's why he goes ghost. Not to hide, but to reclaim power by becoming untouchable. While others are fighting to be seen, liked, and followed, the Sigma is doing the opposite. He subtracts himself. From rooms that don't deserve his presence, from conversations that drain instead of sharpen, from people who think access to him is a right, not a privilege. With every step back, he gains more leverage. Every silence becomes a statement. Every absence becomes a form of control. He knows that true strength doesn't need an audience. Power for him isn't about domination. It's about freedom. The freedom to move without being tracked, to think without being influenced, to exist without being consumed. And the moment he feels people leaning too hard on his presence or expecting too much of his energy, he vanishes. Quietly, intentionally, completely. What most don't realize is that his disappearance is a move. It's the kind of move that creates confusion, curiosity, and in some cases, fear. People start wondering where he went, what he's planning, what they did wrong. That's the beauty of ghost mode. He doesn't chase control, he becomes it. There's no announcement, no farewell tour, no dramatic exit, just distance and dominance. And while others are performing relevance for clicks and clout, he's reigning from the shadows, setting the tempo of his own life, answering to no one. You don't need to see him to feel his impact. You don't need a post, a text, or a status update to know he's made his move. Because by the time you notice his absence, he's already changed the room without being in it. That's the difference. He doesn't need to be seen, he chooses not to be. Because when the crowd claps for noise, the Sigma male becomes the silence that holds the real power. Number 11, he's allergic to emotional parasitism. The Sigma male doesn't do emotional freeloaders, he can spot them fast. People who show up not to grow, not to build, not to elevate, but to feed. They come wrapped in flattery, vulnerability, or chaos. But underneath, their real goal is simple. Extract calm from his stillness, steal confidence from his clarity, and dump their dysfunction into his peace like it's a public trash can. At first he might engage, he'll listen, offer insight, hold space. But the Sigma male is a pattern reader, not a rescuer. And once he sees the cycle, where someone keeps returning with the same problems, no progress, just constant draining, he doesn't warn you, he doesn't argue, he ghosts. He's not being cold, he's being surgical. Emotional parasites don't announce themselves, they wear the mask of connection. But what they really want is a host, and the Sigma refuses to be one. His mental peace wasn't handed to him, it was built through fire, solitude, and self-discipline. So when someone starts feeding off that without giving anything real back, he pulls the plug. No explanation, no slow fade, just gone. The people he ghosts often act surprised. They say he changed, that he disappeared out of nowhere. But what they don't realize is this. He didn't disappear suddenly. He just stopped letting them harvest what they never earned. He's not allergic to emotions. He's allergic to emotional dependence that masquerades as closeness. He values deep connection, but not one-sided emotional leeching that leaves him emptied out every time. He doesn't exist to carry other people's emotional baggage. He doesn't reward drama dressed up as depth. So when you try to guilt-trip him, manipulate him, or treat him like an emotional safety net while refusing to do the inner work, don't expect closure, don't expect a warning. He will vanish in a way that makes you question whether you imagined him. Because once a Sigma male senses you're feeding, not growing, he doesn't just leave the chat. He deletes the entire room. Number 12, he measures people by how they react to his absence. When a Sigma male disappears, it is never random. It is not a glitch in his behavior. It is intentional, controlled, surgical, and one of the most revealing tools he uses to see people for who they really are. His silence is not just a break, it is a test, not to see who misses him, but to see who changes when he is gone. Most people pretend well when they know they are being watched. They act loyal, they act supportive, they act respectful. But remove the Sigma male from the equation, and the truth starts to surface. Some people start talking, some start scheming. Some move differently when they think he is no longer paying attention. That is why he uses absence the way others use confrontation. He does not shout. He vanishes quietly, cleanly, completely. And then he observes, from a distance, because how people react to his silence tells him more than their words ever did. If someone stays solid, silent, and grounded while he is gone, that is noted. But if someone starts shifting, gossiping, or showing a side he never saw before, that is also noted, and often permanently. He does not chase explanations. He does not beg for loyalty. He simply watches. Who panics, who thrives, who shows gratitude, who shows resentment. His absence is a mirror. And what it reflects back to him determines who stays in his life and who gets cut without ceremony. Some people think the Sigma male ghosts because he is detached, that he does not care. But the truth is, he cares so much about authenticity, he will disappear just to watch who unravels without his presence, not for ego, for discernment, because when people think you are gone, that is when they stop performing. That is when their real self walks in. And the Sigma male takes notes, not with a pen, but with silence. He does not measure people by what they say to his face. He measures them by what they reveal in his absence. And once he sees it, he does not forget it, ever. Ghost mode isn't silence, it's strategy. It's not about vanishing for attention. It's about exiting a world that constantly demands performance, compromise, and noise. The Sigma male doesn't disappear because he's cold or indifferent. He disappears because his mind is wired for depth, his spirit is allergic to fakery, and his energy is too sacred to waste on surface-level distractions. Every time he goes ghost, something powerful is happening beneath the surface. He's watching, he's filtering, he's recalibrating. He's protecting his mental clarity, reclaiming his emotional sovereignty, and auditing the people, spaces, and energies, trying to live rent-free in his psyche. Ghost mode is how he refuses to become what the world tries to make him: tamed, predictable, controllable. To the unaware, his absence feels like rejection. To the wise, it's a signal of power, because the Sigma male doesn't just disappear, he evolves while you're wondering where he went. And when he returns, if he returns, he's sharper, calmer, and even more untouchable than before. So if you ever feel the chill of his absence, understand he's not punishing anyone. He's just choosing peace over chaos, purpose over people-pleasing, and alignment over attachment. He's not lost, he's not hiding, he's just somewhere better, where the noise stops, the masks drop, and the soul finally breathes. If this spoke to something deep inside you, don't just scroll past. Hit that like button to let us know you're one of the rare minds who gets it. Drop a comment and tell us which part hit the hardest, and if you know someone who needs to hear this, share it. You might just wake someone up, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and turn on that notification bell. Because we're not here to feed the algorithm, we're here to feed the mind. No fluff, no noise. Just raw, intelligent content that actually respects your thinking. Welcome to the channel where the silent ones finally speak, and the world listens.